Do it.
Hi, my name is Rachel McDonough, and this is my friend. Hi, I'm Savannah, and we're here at the beautiful Madison Square Garden for the big fight, and you are watching True School Sports.
My flow, my show brought me the dough, that brought me all my fancy things, my crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels. Look, homie, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad? I thought that you'd be happy I made it.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, word to my brethren all around the world watching this video. I hope you're having a great day today. As you're tuning in, make sure you do yourself a damn favor and hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. Now, interesting stuff coming out of the top rank side of things, the Terence Crawford side of things, because this might affect their relationship moving forward. We just don't know. But it was reported by Boxing Scene recently that in a Nebraska federal court that they ruled that Top Rank, Bob Arum and Top Rank, they got to pay Terence Crawford's former promoter, Chris Middendorf of the TKO Boxing Productions, they got to pay him $520,000 for Crawford's contract. Now, for those of you who don't know, okay, Terence Crawford was signed to this guy named Chris Middendorf, TKO Boxing Productions. Okay, he owned roughly about 40% of the company. That was his stake in the company, 40%. And when that company started having problems, he sold Terence Crawford and a couple other fighters to Bob Arum. And, you know, that's what happened. Just once they had their financial problems went on, he sold them to Bob Arum. As we know, Top Rank, one of the most powerful companies in all of boxing. Now, Judge John Gerard, he was the one who made the ruling in the Nebraska federal court. And Gerard stated that, you know, Top Rank owes Middendorf an additional $520,000 plus, you know, as per their agreement, and you know, just for what they owe him. And basically, what happened was this: Top Rank stated that they paid Terence Crawford $136,000, or they paid Middendorf $136,000 from Crawford's listed purses and additional revenue that he earned, you know, from the gates and, you know, all that stuff. But they got to pay. The judge is saying in the Nebraska federal court that, look, Bob, you got to pony up some chump change to, you know, find some loose change in your accounts and give the man $520,000 because that's what you own. Now, Top Rank's counsel, their team of people, they're arguing that they shouldn't have to pay Chris Middendorf any money from Crawford's victories over Postal and Julius Ndongo because basically they were supposed to pay him for those fights, Chris Middendorf. Because their argument is saying that they don't have to pay for those fights because basically when he fought Postal and when he fought Julius Ndongo, those were unification fights, not title defenses, so they don't owe TKO Boxing Productions any money. But the judge ruled against those instances as well, and they got to pony up the money, and they got to pay Mr. Chris Middendorf and TKO Boxing Productions what they owe. So, you know, we know that Crawford's fight purse was about $2 million when he fought Ndongo. And yeah, that's what it is. So I bring this story up to say this, okay? We know that Mikey Garcia, when he was with Top Rank, he had a very, very bad history with them, a very long contract dispute. You know, and it just dragged on and dragged on and dragged on and dragged on. He lost years of his career. Now he's signed to Al Heyman, and now he's, you know, doing quite nicely for himself. He just put 47,000, helped put 47,000 people in the seats at Cowboy Stadium. So, you know, big shout out to Mikey Garcia and what he's got going on with his career. With that being said, man, I say that this might affect Crawford because in his relationship with Bob Arum, because, you know, I really don't know what his relationship is like with Terence Crawford behind the scenes. I'm not going to sit and try to guess that. But it's a known fact that, you know, the big fight with Terence Crawford is the Errol Spence fight. And as it stands right now, that's probably not going to happen because Errol Spence has a bevy of options. We're talking Manny Pacquiao, we're talking about Keith Thurman, we're talking about a unification fight with the likes of Sean Porter. And who does Terence Crawford have to fight? Really, what, Kabeluskas, Ray Robinson? Who is he gonna fight at welterweight for Top Rank? So his career, I think, as much as I, you know, I like Terence Crawford and I want to see him prosper and do well. And I'm not gonna make it no secret, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Al Heyman. I think sometimes he doesn't do right by his fighters all the time. But you know, he might need to make that move at some point. He might need to make that move at some point. it's something that he does have to consider because, you know, if we look at just the way Top Rank normally does things and how they lure fighters. This is, let's just talk boxing business here for a second. If you look at the way Top Rank likes to lure its fighters, whether it be from the past to now, if we go talk about Floyd Mayweather, we talk about Shakur Stevenson, the way Top Rank generally lures fighters in, it's a number of things. It's a couple of things. They have a strategy basically where they pay fighters, you know, basically like these like pro sports does, you know, they have signing bonuses, you know. If you sign this 4-year promotional deal, I will give you $800,000 or $1 million. That's how Top Rank has done it for years, and it can be a blessing, but for a lot of fighters, it's been a curse as well, because what winds up happening is it really depends on who you are to Top Rank. And what I mean when I say that is, you know, are you going to be a guy that is used as an opponent for somebody else, as candidate for opposition, or are you going to be a guy for Top Rank that they look to put money into, to invest as a pay-per-view star, to promote properly, which I think, you know, as much as I think Top Rank has done right by a lot of fighters. You know, when we look at the promotion for Amir Khan versus Terence Crawford, let's call a spade, man. I live here in America. I watch a lot of ESPN. I hardly ever see commercials for it, and you know, I've seen, you know, that ticket sales aren't doing very well at the Garden. I'm hoping they do well. I'm hoping for the event to prosper. But, you know, you also got to look at what Al Heyman's doing. Al Heyman has Granados versus Garcia, which I think is a very good fight. It's a good TV fight. It's a good style matchup, and it's free. So say what you want about Al Heyman, and I've said a lot about Al Heyman, but that is a good fight, and it's gonna run into, and it's gonna cut into just a little bit, maybe even a lot, that fight between Crawford and Khan. So he's not being properly promoted, to be honest with you, Terence Crawford. There's not a lot of, or any really, like, notable fights he can have within the Top Rank stable. So, you know, personally, look, I think Top Rank, as much as I like Terence Crawford and I'm happy for his career and what's happened so far, the reality is this: he's a fighter with all the skills in the world. He has skills out the ass. The guy can fight like nobody's business. But the reality is, in boxing, you need dance partners. If you don't get the right dance partners, you're never going to be, you know, remember the way you should. And you can easily, no matter how good of a fighter you were, you can easily be lost in the translation of boxing history if you didn't have the right dance partners to fight you. And I have my questions and I have my doubts about whether or not Terence Crawford will get the right dance partners for a number of reasons. One, he's a hell of a fighter, and he's beating pretty much almost everybody that they put in front of him in the division. So people aren't just going to jump in to fight him. And two, then you're not getting a lot of money if you fight Terence Crawford because he's not a big name, he's not a big draw like that. So guys they're gonna hold onto that crutch, and they're gonna say, oh well, Crawford, there's nothing in it for me if I beat him other than, you know, being a great fighter, you know. So that's just where we're at in boxing. And I think Terence Crawford, if he does decide to leave Top Rank, you know, I don't know what his contract is like, but it might be one of those things where if he decides a year or two from now, hey, Bob, there's nowhere for me to fight, I'm not in meaningful fights, I want to go sign with, let's just say, Al Heyman or The Zone or whatever, then we could be seeing another Mikey Garcia situation. We really could, where they get into a contract dispute, it drags on and drags on and drags on, and maybe he doesn't fight for a long time, and maybe he loses some really significant years in his career. I'm just saying these are things you need to consider with Terence Crawford and his career, because, you know, they didn't pay his old promoter what they owed him. And, you know, now, what I find funny about the whole thing is, like, Top Rank's people, they're trying to argue that, oh, they shouldn't have to pay the money because basically, they're, you know, the two fights they didn't pay bid and drop for was the Postal and Dongo fights. And they argue that, oh, you know, they weren't title fights, so we don't got to pay them, but then the judge ruled against that. So we could be seeing history replaying itself because Mikey had a long contract dispute with Top Rank. And Crawford, you know, I'm not saying, look, I'm not wishing that on him, but I'm just looking at the landscape of things. I'm looking at where he's at in his career. He's 31 years old. He's one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. I can honestly say there's about a good 3 fights out there for him in the welterweight division that I would say are legacy-defining fights. I would say against Spence, number 1. Number 2 being against a guy like Manny Pacquiao. Number 3 being against a guy like Keith Thurman. Those are like the 3 legacy-defining fights for a guy like Terence Crawford. And it's very unlikely he's going to get any one of those 3 because of Bob Arum's inability to work with Al Heyman, and vice versa, Al Heyman's inability to work with Bob Arum. And when he gets to that point in his career, and he might get to that point where he gets frustrated and say, hey, look, I ain't really fighting nobody. I need to get a move in my career. I want those big fights. That time might be coming sooner than we think. And when that time comes, how's Bob Arum going to react? Is he going to just let Terence Crawford leave, or will there be some sort of contract dispute? You know, I'm just saying, these are things we need to consider, and I'm just reporting it. So let me know what you guys think. Bob Arum had to pay Terence Crawford's old promoter $520,000. It was ruled in a Nebraska federal court that they owe, and they got to pony up Chris Middendorf of TKO Boxing Productions well over $500,000, which for Bob Arum, to be truthfully speaking, you know, to be honest with you guys, is chump change. Okay, it'd be like if I went over to that corner of my house right over there, and I went into that gallon of water with all the pennies and stuff in it, and I picked about 5 of them out. That's what that kind of money is to Bob Arum, because the guy, you know, he takes trips around the world, but the only place he goes to, the only place he goes to more than the airport is the bank. You know, the guy's loaded. So we'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll leave the article for you guys so you guys can read the details for yourself and come to your own surmise. Take the time to subscribe, like I say in all my videos. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.
This is Chick Shane Mosley, and you're watching True School Sports.
All right.